There are reasons and reasons for pendency. I'm just going to briefly refer to those reasons, because only if we find out those reasons why people allege that there is some kind of a failure on our part, unless we analyze those reasons, we won't be able to improvise and improve. Other reason is that I'm going to deal with criminal law and other aspects, but one important reason is that we have witnessed a rapidly changing society. And one of the consequences of the changes which rapidly happened in the society during the last 20 to 30 years was rise in matrimonial disputes. As member of the judiciary, this is a great area for concern for me, because now we see happening every day, one matrimonial dispute, unless it is resolved through peer pressure or social pressure, gives rise to minimum 4 to 5 grassroots level litigations. And then there are appeals, revisions, quashing petitions, transfer petitions right up to Supreme Court. So today, one matrimonial dispute is potentially creating, if not more, 15 to 20 litigations at different levels in different courts. And in some of the bigger states, the life of matrimonial litigation is not less than 20 years. Now, this is one category of litigations which is burdening the judiciary. And therefore, this is one area where we have to make innovations. I always taken credit for doing something drastic. When I was in Bombay High Court, I had to issue contempt notices of criminal contempt to about 7 district court bar associations. They continued to abstain from the court work. This happened on 2 occasions. Karnataka, I had to do the same unpleasant job. Coming to Supreme Court, I had to issue notice to at least 2 prominent bar associations of high courts when they abstained from the court work. Forget about the law which says that abstaining from the court work, which amounts to a criminal contempt. It is otherwise very criminal. How we are going to stop this? We refer to what Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar said on the last day of debates, 25th of November, 1949, when he warned citizens that in independent India, unconstitutional means of protest are completely prohibited. If today lawyers practicing in High Court are taking recourse to this something which is completely unconstitutional, are we not causing great prejudice to litigants? We talk about huge pendency in bigger high courts. We do talk about it, and there is pendency. We can't run away from that. Now, who is contributing to this pendency? Imagine there are 1,000 bail applications listed before 4 or 5 different benches of one high court. Out of that, at least 150 will be taken. 100 may get bail. If members of the bar boycott the court proceedings, date will be given in those 100 cases where accused are entitled to bail after, say, 2 months or 3 months. Who is responsible for all this? When we talk about this disconnect between the judiciary and common man, one area we have neglected for years together. Look at the pendency in our industrial and labor courts, where workmen or laborers go there. Pendency before the various other fora like Payment of Wages Act. There's huge pendency there. And apart from generally that, barring few states, the tier and district courts lack adequate infrastructure. Labor and industrial courts are most neglected when it comes to infrastructure. There are so many posts which are vacant. I happen to be the chairperson of the committee which selects the members of the National Industrial Tribunal. I can see the pendency and the pendency and filing. That one area is completely neglected. The other area is legal aid. When we talk about legal aid, we talk about legal aid to the prisoners, to the accused. And what kind of legal aid we are providing? Every day in High Court and Supreme Court, we see trials conducted by legal aid lawyers. But of course, there are exceptions. There are exceptionally good lawyers But generally we find that there is no proper cross-examination of the witnesses, eyewitnesses, unless those omissions and contradictions are brought on record by a legal aid lawyer. No higher court can correct. And maybe because of neglect of the legal aid lawyer, perhaps we may be convicting some persons against whom there may not be any real evidence. There is one more area about legal aid. Supreme Court had taken some steps, I don't know what is the position. Supreme Court had constituted a society under Society Registration Act to create some kind of funds for litigants belonging to middle class. If we take survey of the kind of litigations which are filed in appeals, filed in High Court and Supreme Court, you realize that large sections of the society, though the verdict is against them, they hesitate to come to higher court because they cost. Imagine a teacher who gets some salary of 20,000, 25,000, or a grade 4 employee gets salary of 18, 20,000. If he has to travel up to High Court or Supreme Court, can he afford litigation? The answer is no. And then who is going to provide legal aid to them? This is also one question which we'll have to ask. As far as solution is concerned, one area where we have failed, we means all, including government. In 2002, our court, Supreme Court says, increase the just to population ratio to 50 per million within 5 years. Today, we are struggling at 22 or 23. And imagine 2002 and today 2025, the litigation has multiplied, the filing has multiplied, the pendency has multiplied. At least in 2 speeches which Brother Dipankar Datto addressed, he referred to 2016 or 17 order of the Supreme Court, where based on report, interim report of Professor Mohan Gopal, NCMS report, a formula was devised and every state was told to submit a demand for creation of more judicial posts. In fact, one of the speeches Justice Datto shared what happened in Bombay High Court. I was the chairman of the concerned committee. Strictly going by that formula, the figures of additional judges required was something like 12,000. So we restrained ourselves and submitted a proposal for some 8,000 or so. I think only 1,000 posts are created. So how do we deal with this kind of filing and pendency if our just to population ratio remains stagnant at 22 and 23? Of course, we must take blame for pendency, but there is some limit on the capacity of the judges to work. And therefore, unless this area is addressed, maybe after 100 years of constitution, we'll be discussing the same topic, that look at the pendency, matters are not reaching. Unless we make serious effort to implement the orders of the court and increase the just to population ratio. We talk about many seminars I attend of chartered accountants or doctors. They always give me examples of what happens in England or USA. I always tell them, look at the just to population ratio in those countries. Then you will realize why we are lagging behind. And this is a very, very serious issue. It's not enough to create the posts. Sometime back, I attended a workshop where I was told by some of the chief justices that in some states in northern India, the government increased the posts, but corresponding infrastructure was not created. We need courts, we need staff, we need hardware and software, we need residential accommodation for the judges. So it's going to be a very massive thing to be done if you want to increase the just to population ratio. And look at the judicial infrastructure. I'm talking about the biggest judicial district in India, that is Pune. I don't know, about 3 years back, what I learned and I have seen, I must share with you. There are 10 courts of senior civil judges. They are given one room. Before the court hours, it becomes their chamber. During court hours, it is courtroom, and after court hour, it is again a chamber. This is the infrastructure. Of course, now new buildings are coming up. I'm just giving you a representative example that what kind of infrastructure we have provided to our trial and district judiciary. I used to always express happiness. Perhaps Karnataka is one of the best states when it comes to infrastructure to trial and district courts. But to conclude on this subject. Unless we take some drastic steps, we'll keep on discussing this for 25 years or 50 years and nothing will come out. And we see that figure of 4.24 or 4.54, which is there today. Maybe we may reach the figure of 10 crores